Welcome all. So this is going to be a quick video where I describe why I think this is going to be a very violent summer. As you guys know, I'm sort of a local knockaround man. I've made my profession off of violence in some capacity or another. I'm going to look at economy, males and strain, global warming, political division, racial tensions, white nationalist, Christian nationalist, whichever you prefer to call them, and Trump anxiety. First up, we have inflation. For those of you who don't know what strain is, that's just the idea that strain will create crime, economic strain in particular. But we've got inflation at play here. We've got unemployed and underemployed young men. That's never really good. Underemployed, for those of you who may not be in the know, is when you go through significant training processes and whatnot to get an edge, but yet somehow you still can't get it. Think of that person we know who gets a degree, but then the next day has to go back to their old job at Starbucks. People are just dropping out. They're dropping out of institutions of training. They're dropping out of the economy and whatnot. That's always a formula for violence. Less young people are in relationships, and I think that bodes ill for a lot of guys. I do think women overall have a civilizing effect on men. Global warming. In the Economist magazine, or news publication, there was a study of rise in temperatures with a rise in violence. One of the reasons given for the situation, the Detroit riots, was that it was extremely hot summer, extremely dry summer. This is reflected in our culture. We describe somebody as hot under the collar. We say they lost their cool. So this is really self-evident here. Political division, unusual circumstances. Both sides are still angry about the election. When I was growing up, you would have a presidential election and whoever won it was president, and the other person was honestly usually forgotten. But I've seen personally harassment, verbal harassment from both sides. Conservatives hold the executive legislature, the House and Senate, which is unusual, and let's just be honest that they do hold the Supreme Court. Racial tensions. I'm not sure what is going on here, but it does seem that we've taken a huge step back. It seems people are being more overtly racism, and we see that in the media. I think there's algorithms, or people are setting their news alerts to only capture instances of white on black violence or black on white violence. People, I've noticed, are self-segregating. They can do this online. In some places, they're even trying to do it physically. There's radicalized and no middle ground. A weird question I was once asked was, what was I going to do to be an anti-racist? So I go, well, I don't want to be either one. And personally, I don't want to live in a country where people are radicalized. Remember, you might think radicalization is good, but what if it's not on your side? The white nationalists, Christian nationalists, these are people who have sort of an ethno-political religious identity that has been folded into the MAGA movement. They're emboldened by the election. They're well-funded. Conservative pushes are succeeding. Look at the red wave we've had. Certainly look at the overturn on Roe v. Wade. I don't care where you stand on that, but it was clearly a conservative victory. Trump anxiety. I think what makes Trump very, very different is, unlike, say, Obama, who was very intellectual, or love him, hate him, the last Bush president we had, who believed in civics, Trump rules by his temperament. He doesn't watch what he says, and he's never paid the consequences for that, and doesn't know the damaging effects that a president just casually saying, hey, we're leaving NATO, has on people. Trump and his administration don't respect institutions, and they do not respect traditions, really. Now, again, this doesn't mean I disagree with all policies and whatnot, but these are just the facts. He does rule by his temperament. Going into this summer, which has already been a crazy one for me where I work, and it's not even summer yet, I'm reminded of the book In the Garden of Beasts. I actually would urge a lot of people to read this book, because it mentions the tension going into a certain summer, I forget what year. This is not a World War II book per se. It chronicles sort of the rise of the Nazi Party pre-World War pre-World War II. So that's all I've really got for you. As always, I'm going to leave the comment section open, but I'm going to ask you all to be nice. Thank you.